Now you may think, how do people really get mental health issues? Like how people's mental health starts going bad? So there are probably 3 reasons that we have studied. First one, it may be genetics. Like it can be passed down from your parents or from your grandfathers to you or to your children as well. Those genetic factors can also be one of the reasons for mental health issues. Second, it can also be childhood traumas. Abuse. Abuse is something we all must have come across in our life once or many times also. So those abuse may come in physical abuse, may come in verbal abuse, may come in sexual abuse. Those are not converted, if those are not healed, it may mount up and then later on it may trigger our mental health. So we mostly think that kiki face to say if you don't remember, nothing will happen. But then the thing is, our mind, our brain, it remembers everything. It stays under the subconscious. And maybe once when you come across a certain incident, it may trigger those past traumas and it may lead up to mental health issues. Our environmental factors. Environmental factors, as I say, stresses, daily stresses, if not being treated properly, kind of hindrances in our life, those can be environmental factors. So those are the 3 reasons, trigger points of mental health issues. One out of every 8 person in the total population face mental health issues. That's really common, like 1 out of 8 person. And then suicide happens to be one of the leading cause of death among our generations, especially the youths. And also there comes depression. Depression, it is said that 15% of the world population do face depression once in their lifetime. So when you see about the statistics of mental health issues in our society, it's really, really common. And now when we think about mental health issues, like someone from our life who is going through a mental health issue, I think about it, why? Because it is not talked about often. Because our society has not made it, a topic to be discussed with your friends, to be discussed with the society. And why is it that mental health issues, even if it's so common, even if it's so prevalent in our society, it's still not talked about enough? It is because of the stigma, the discrimination, and the shame that comes with mental health issues. So, for example, cancer patients. When someone says that this auntie or this uncle has cancer, we show our solidarity, we show our love, we show our support in any form, maybe verbally, maybe through our actions. But then when we say that this person is suffering mental health issues, we don't show enough support to them. Those are the stigmas. Because we think that family there, if one of your friends is suffering from maybe depression or anxiety, which is very common among the youth, your parents or your other friend circle will stop you from mingling with that person. Just don't be in the same circle as him in your photo. But then when it comes to physical symptoms, we don't put up such barriers between us. So stigma, it's actually also because of the word mental itself. When we say the word mental, what translates in our mind in Naganese is pagala. That's the stigma the word is carrying. So what we need to do is, we need to understand that mental health issues are the same as physical health issues. There is no need to put up barriers between mental health issues. And instead of telling people who are suffering mentally to take care of themselves, to do their work in time, that once they start doing it, they will forget about what they are doing, they wouldn't feel sad anymore. What we actually need to do is show our community support. one thing. Okay, a little life experience. So when I recently graduated. I think it was a month ago. So when I was pursuing my bachelor's degree as a psychology student, I am always asked to do an internship. So my internship was in Kohima. It was at Kripa Center. For anyone who does not know Kripa Center, under Kripa Center there is a rehabilitation center, and then there is a dropping center where the addict people, people who are going through addiction, are given OSCs, and there are support groups for them. So when I was there, I actually thought, like, what's addiction? I mean, how hard would it be for someone to overcome addiction, right? I think once in our life, we also must have thought about it when we have seen someone, going through addiction. So I was also, before I went for my internship, I was also like, how hard could it be? I mean, you could just snap out of it if you are, brave enough, if you have made your mind. But I was totally wrong. What I learned from there is that addiction is not about our willpower. It's so when we start taking certain substances, substance abuse, may it be drugs, may it be alcohol, or any kind of tobacco, our brain, it gets chemically addicted to that substance. It's like the oxygen we breathe. We are no longer able to, live without that certain substance in our life, because our brains, it gets chemically bonded. And that is why people who are suffering from addiction, that's one thing. One of the many things I've learned in my time in rehabilitation center. And what I have grasped through that experience is that we need education. For someone like me who literally studies the human mind, who literally studies human behavior and why they do the things they do, I was also not able to understand that addiction. I was also having a misconception about addiction. So what we need is education. Every one of us here needs to educate ourselves on certain topics, such as mental health or substance abuse as well. So that's how we are able to, as a community, that's how we will be able to foster a more supportive and more inclusive community. So that's one experience of mine. Okay, few mental health issues which are really common among the youths of today would be, of course, depression. Then there is generalized anxiety disorder, just the anxiety, and then there's also eating disorder. So I have seen many people diagnosing themselves through Google, like, do I have depression, when you are feeling sad? And maybe some people do have depression, but what we need to understand is that we cannot diagnose ourselves through media means or just by connecting our symptoms with those symptoms of people who have depression. Therapy is the only way to actually know our state and actually become better if we are actually suffering. Our society, we think that therapy is being weak. Going for therapy is being weak. But therapy is truly a sign of strength instead of weakness. When we bottle up many things inside us and we don't let it out, we don't pour it out, it can be very harmful to us, as well as when we start moving on with our life. As I said, our mind does not forget anything, it remembers. It can come up. As one example would be our fingers. Itu berapa harus boleh lakukan. But then when it comes together, when it piles up together, and then when we snap it, we do feel pain. That's how it is. Our traumas, our stresses, everything. When it comes up and piles up together, it will hit us like that. That is why therapy is truly needed in our generation, and it is very accessible as well. Our district hospitals, they provide free clinical sessions and then free psychiatric sessions as well. So you can always avail those. I have told you enough about like mental health issues and then the prevalence among our society and the stigmas that are coming up, that are already there. I will share with you some ways how to take care of your mental health. I think these are very basic tips, but maybe this will be a reminder to all of you to keep practicing those. One would be meditation or prayer. So whenever we are being stressed out or worried about something, we need to give ourselves some quiet time and also pray. You need to pray about it. That's one thing. And then also, I think we spend too much time in our head, don't we? Every one of us. I think this generation, I mean, with the advancement of technology and everything, we have become so individualized that we spend too much time alone. We spend too much time in our head. So what you need to do is come out of it. How do you do that? By living in the moment. It's not a one time. You can do it. You can just think about it and do it right now. But it needs practice. But we need to learn how to live in the moment. Also, when we are, if I tell you to think 5 positive things about yourself and 5 negative things about yourself, I am sure most of us will be able to fill up the negative things faster than the positive things. Why? Because we only think negative of ourselves all the time. I have learned from one of my sessions that, we were all born very confident. It is the world that broke our self-esteem down and then our confidence got low. And that is really true. One thing about growth is also to unlearn the things that you have learned in the past, from the people that you have learned in the past. One very important tip I would like to share is positive self-talk. When we are getting ready in front of the mirror, my hair does not look good this way. Aji to chudi alap sundar dikhana hai. Aji to mala skin usna alap kiya usne. We only say about this. Aji to sundar dikhese. Maybe hardly once or twice we do that. So positive self-talk is really important to boost up your mental health, to boost up your self-esteem and your confidence as well. You need to stop talking negatively about yourself or even thinking negatively about yourself. Our thoughts can manifest into actions. It can come into reality if you think too much about it. That's one thing. Also, journaling is a very useful tip. When you are feeling so much too stressed, you can always write it up on notepad so that it may not be very poetic or anything, but you can just scribble anything that comes into your mind. As long as you are finding a way to let it out of your system, it will make you feel very relaxed. There's a little activity I would like every one of you to repeat after me. Would you do that? Would you do that?
Yes.
Alright. When you say it loud, not for me, but for yourself. That you also understand what you are saying, that you also believe what you are saying. Mental illness is not a choice.
Mental illness is not a choice.
Mental illness is not attention seeking. Mental illness is not a weakness.
Mental illness is not a weakness.
Mental illness is not a flaw in character.
Mental illness is not a flaw in character.
Mental illness is not the same for everyone.
Mental illness is not the same for everyone.
Mental illness is not less important than other illnesses.
Mental illness is not less important than others.
I am sure 1 or 2% might have popped up in your mind, or maybe you also reflected in yourself when I was sharing with you about mental illness, mental health issues, and about stress, depression, and everything. I want you to go reach out to those persons who came up to your mind, to go and seek out for therapy, to seek out for professional help if they really need it. And also, if you are the one who came to your mind, I want you to do the same. We earn the life we are meant to live by fighting for it. I hope that you would all be courageous enough to take up that step, to take up a leap, so that you would be able to, seek out help to live a better life. So as I already mentioned, whatever knowledge you have gained here, or even small things, I hope that you will share it to the people around, so that we would be that small beacon of hope, and that will be able to one day, that we will together be able to one day wash out all the stigmas that are prevailing in our society. Because when it comes to mental health issues, it is not just that they are not able to get the professional help, but also that they are not able to get the community help from us. So I hope you promise to do that. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, for listening to me. And then maybe if you have any questions in mind, any queries that you would like to know more about, you can always ask. Is there any questions?
Praise the Lord. My name is Dida Singrongpin, and Kasang Kopi we get from Bifur. Supposed to be we are mental health disorder as well as this psychological disorder, social environment in our Bifur hometown. All the people cannot see us in our hometown Bifur. Many lawyers and many counselors as well as the chapel or spiritual prayer home, we do share and pray to God through the Bible verse. But this mental health disorder and psychological disorder environment, we cannot handle our health and our social culture. Please, I have a question to share about this. Thank you.
So when it comes to mental disorder in itself, it's a very heavy word, and it needs the only, just like I gave an example of cancer patient, right? So cancer is a disease. Mental disorder, psychological disorder, is also a disease. You need doctors, you need professionals who are actually trained in that field to overcome those kind of mental health disorders. So maybe in some places we might not get good doctors for such interventions, right? For such treatments. It's also a very new and blooming industry, mental health, the entire mental health industry in itself. It's also a very new and blooming industry. And people might not be, there are still scarcity of doctors and trained professionals in many places. So some places we might not be able to get access to such professionals. However, as I mentioned, some things, we can always use those things to take care of our mental health. And if there is someone around us actually suffering from mental disorders in itself, those we need to understand that they need really good professional care. And what you can do on your part is suggest them to professionals I mean. Would that suffice your question?
Okay. I have one big question, which I was searching for before. So mental disorder and demon possession, how do you distinguish and recognize when we observe someone? That is my question. Got it?
So I think we have also heard stories in the past that some people who actually suffer from mood disorders or hallucinations, schizophrenia, were also considered to be demonically, possessed. But then, like there's good in this world, there's also bad. And I think right now, with proper medical facilities that have been provided, I myself, you yourself, who is not professionally trained, or we will not be able to distinguish
to know more about the topic. These days we emphasize on prayer and miracles, and then yes, by faith, give must by faith and drive out the demons. But in case of mental, ignore or take less efforts to go to the professionals and people who are being trained in dealing with mental sickness. So in her emphasis is that yes, we must pray first, and we must also look unto God. But as physical sickness, so also mental sickness. So we tend to make mental sickness as demon possessed or different from physical sickness. So there should be a balance and differentiate that. Okay, yes, spiritual warfare and physical sickness, mental disorder. All these are also we need professionals, those who are being trained to deal with the physical sickness, mental sickness, and even, of course, the spiritual warfare at the same time. So her emphasis is that mental health or mental sickness or disorder should be dealt not only just, of course, priority is prayer, faith, and depending on God, but at the same time, we also need those professionals or counselors who are being well trained after much experiments and experiences how to deal with mental sickness.
More questions. I will wind up my talk or my session here, and then maybe you can ask me personally if you don't want to speak it out here. I will always be
share out about the journey that you are going through now, that you are going to the Northeast, so we can just uphold in your prayers, so you can just highlight about that journey.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So our project, it's called, as I said, it's breaking the silence. What's our aim for this project is that we would like to break the silence that is prevalent in our society. That people come out to talk more about it. Our campaign is a campaign on awareness, which is on mental health as well as substance abuse. Do you know that 70% of the population of those who are, substance abusers, they also suffer from mental health issues. So we are currently aiming on those because in our northeastern state, mental health issues as well as substance abuse is really taking a high. I mean, in the statistics wise, it's really high. So we would be going to 2 districts in Arunachal and then probably 2 districts in Assam as well, and then later 2 districts in Manipur, and a total of 6 districts in Nagaland itself. So, like our sir has mentioned, I would like you all to also keep my team and me in your prayers so that we would, through our campaign, we would be able to reach out to those people who are actually in need, and also the people in our society, that we would start talking more about it and then put less shame to it, that our goals would be reached and that lives, if possible, would be changed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kenei, and we are really being enlightened and also being informed and also encouraged and also being challenged that we should come out or we should go out or we should talk about mental sicknesses or disorders or to overcome the social stigma, and not only just confine that to a one area of dealing with mental sickness, but we should venture into different possibilities to deal with the mental sickness or mental issues. And then also we should also encourage our fellow friends that those who are undergoing such a mental disorder or mental sickness or issues in one way or the other, we are to really help or show our compassion and also our love and care as we do those who are falling into sickness physically, taken to hospital, try to, help in every possible way. But if a person is somehow mentally, disturbed or being under some kind of not able to relate or socialize with others, we tend to think that, oh, this is strange, or this is like something demon possessed, or beyond our ability to handle it. So we should open up and then also do our part. And as they are also going on campaign from this Monday as well, this coming Monday, they will be traveling. And it's going to be a really, heavy trip, not just 2 or 3 places, but several places. And we know our Northeast situation. We know we need God's protection and also safety from any kind of accident, and also free from any kind of dark or evil forces that will come on their way not to do well or not to reach out to the people who are in need of this kind of campaign or efforts to deal with our young people. As she said, 70%, and especially among the young people. So we need really prayer. She emphasized the first and most important thing is prayer, and also not neglecting or ignoring